What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Carlos again. Thanks for coming back to the channel. This is the red and black car collection. So today, guys, I've got some great news. So I've got wheels back from Aztec. I'm gonna go ahead and get them unloaded, and then what I'll be doing is I'll be working on disassembling the wheels and getting them ready to go so that we can get them over to the painter. We can get them painted, and then we can get them reassembled again and get them on Project T-Top. So stay with me. I got a nice video coming for you with lots of good, useful, educational information. So don't turn that dial, okay? If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment below, share it with a friend, okay? Thanks. All right, let's get these puppies unloaded and start our disassembly process. Okay, guys, so I've started loosening all of the nuts all the way around so I can begin disassembling the wheel. So I just want to show you really quick. So as I mentioned, this wheel is held together. The three pieces that make up this wheel are held together by these two pieces here. So this is a nut, a female nut, if you will. See, little nut, and then a little bolt. Now, if you notice on this one here, this is a Forgiato wheel. So Forgiato actually, they went to the extent, I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. May not be able to catch it, but Forgiato, they went to the extent of, here, let me see if I can clean it off. Okay, there it is. You can probably see that there's a little F in there. So Forgiato actually has their own custom design wheel bolts. That's actually something different because most of the wheel companies that I've seen, the 2- and 3-piece wheel companies, they kind of have just like a standard type of bolt, and they don't have any kind of like stamping or anything of their brand or their logo. But this one, like I said, it has a little F in the middle. I hope you can see that. It has a little bitty F, the F that's shaped like the Forgiato emblem. But I know some of the older Asante wheels, they had a tricky little bolt and nut set that actually had a head on the bolt that was it was an 11-point bolt head, which, if you know a lot about tools, there isn't a such thing as an 11-point socket out there that exists. So what they would do is, Asante was kind of clever. They actually made their bolt heads 11 points. So you would have to buy a special tool that they made specifically for that bolt head. And if you tried to take that bolt out with any other type of socket, whether it was like a 6-point socket or a 12-point socket, you would quickly realize that you could strip that bolt and possibly damage the wheel or damage the bolt head. And to make matters worse, Asante had 2 different sizes on their bolt heads. So you had the bolt itself had a particular size, which I don't remember what that size was, and then you had the nut that had a particular size, and they were both 11-point fittings. So you had to have basically 2 individual sockets. You had to have a special socket for the bolt, and you had to have a special socket for the nut as well. So I ran into that problem once before when I was disassembling a set of wheels, a set of Asantes, and I actually did find a guy online who made that Asante socket, and it was like a lot less than what Asante was asking for theirs. So anyways, I'm gonna keep taking these off. So if you notice right here, if you can see that, there's one of the nuts there that I've loosened, and I'm taking that off there. So I'll do that. Like I told you before in the other video, there's 40 of these nut and bolt sets. So I'll have to take all 40 of them out, and then I can disassemble the wheel and take the center out of the wheel. So I'll show you just a quick video. Oh, and what I did was, just so you know, so I have a little small impact, little 20-volt small impact porta cable hammer drill, or impact drill, I should say, that comes in handy for these kind of light duty stuff. If I can't break the bolt with that impact gun, then I'm using this ratchet and socket set here to break them, and then I use the impact gun to get the rest of them off. So this socket here is, let's see, it is, okay, so this is a half inch. Yeah, it's a half inch socket. Okay, and I've got a long extension piece, because it helps with this long extension piece. It helps so that you can clear the side of the wheel, because if you have a short piece, then you'll run into problems with reaching down there to the nut to take it off. So this long extension is perfect for this kind of thing. So anyways, I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing, guys, and I'll get back to you in just a second. Oh, guys, one more thing I forgot to share also is I'm using a lubricant here. This probably isn't exactly the best lubricant for this situation. I would probably recommend some type of WD-40 or I forgot the other brand that a lot of people use. But this will serve the purpose for what I needed for. And what I did was I just basically lubed each one of the nut and bolts just so they would come off easier. It also helps with getting the socket, getting the bolt or the nut out of the socket once you pull it off of the bolt. Because a lot of times these little nuts, they get stuck in the socket, and you gotta some kind of way figure out how to get them out of the socket. So this comes in handy, and it also helps to break the tightness of the bolt when you go to loosen it. So okay, so I'll just show you guys a few of these, how they come off, just for reference. See, that's what I was talking about. See how the nut gets stuck in the socket sometimes. Just kind of give it a tap, and it comes out. But these come out once you get them loose. They come out pretty easy. Okay. Some of the shorter ones, they're a little more stubborn. I mean, sometimes I have to put my hand behind it to help it out. So the longer ones, I've noticed, they come right off, no problem. With the shorter ones, sometimes, like I said, they take a little bit of extra attention. But anyways, as you can see, if you look closely, you can see the bolts are sticking through all the way around. Now some of the bolts, as you can see there, like that one right there, some of the bolts, they fell through already, but some of them I'll have to kind of help out a little bit and push them through. But it shouldn't take much. I'll just take like a rubber mallet or something and push them all the way through, and then this thing will be ready to come off. Something I also want to point out is, if you look right here, you see this thing right there. That is the valve stem. So what they do is they install that valve stem, and they run it through one of the bolt holes, and it sticks out through the front side of the wheel. That way you can you can easily put air in your tire. I've had a set of wheels where they didn't have these special valve stems, where the valve stem stuck out to the front of the rim, and I had to literally reach in behind the rim to put air in the tire, because as you can see, the valve stems are on the inside of the wheel, not the outside like most wheels. Here's another one. Most 2 and 3 piece wheels usually have 2 valve stems. There's usually one here, and then you have, that's kind of like a backup, and then the other one is kind of like the primary. And what that looks like, just so you know, on the front end, that's what it looks like right there. See, it sticks out. Now what I'm gonna have to do in order to take this center off, because I've got all my bolts removed. See, all of my bolts are removed. So in order to take the center off, I'm gonna have to remove that valve cover cap so that I can slide that center out from over that valve. So give me a second here. I need to go grab my mallet so I can tap this thing out of here. Okay, so here's all the nuts and bolts that make up the construction of that wheel. These are the nuts and bolts that hold that wheel together. The three pieces that make that wheel up. Like I said, there's 40 bolts and 40 nuts on each of these wheels, and I had to take all those off. So now that I got the nuts and bolts off, now I've got my mallet here. I'll take my mallet, I'll flip this thing over, and then I'll just, if I can, I'll just tap these down. You can actually start to see it start to drop. You notice how some of the bolts are shorter now. Oh, and I forgot to mention that on this wheel here, the design of this wheel, it actually has the bolt is actually integrated into the face of the wheel, or the inner or the center of the wheel. Most wheels don't have that design, but because of the way this was designed, it actually has an integrated bolt with the center. But most of them just have all 40 bolts that just go through the center and fasten the center to the inner and outer barrel. And I'll show you in just a minute what that means when I say an integrated bolt. Give me a second. See, it's starting to separate there. There it is. See, it just dropped. So now we have the wheel, the center, separated from the barrel. Okay, so if I lift this up, okay. See, now you understand why I call that a barrel, because when you look at it on the ground, it looks like a barrel. It looks just like a barrel. Without the center in it, it looks just like a barrel. So, and I mentioned before, you got a outer barrel, which is here. This is the outer barrel here, and then this part here, that's the inner barrel. Okay, so, and then here is the center. See that? That's the center. So that's what makes up a three-piece wheel. Inner and outer barrel, center, and the bolts that hold it all together. And then last but not least, the silicone that seals the two barrels, the inner and outer barrel, together. That's a three-piece wheel construction. And what I was talking about earlier about the integrated bolts, you see how this center has these bolts sticking out of it? See, normally you wouldn't have that on a three-piece wheel. Usually all the bolts are separate from the center. They don't come attached to the center or integrated in the center. But because of the design of this wheel, they designed it with an exposed bolt here and then a hidden bolt here. That was part of the design, so they had to integrate it into the center. So that one's done. So now what I'll do is I'll take that to the painter. I'll take that to the painter, and he'll paint this piece here, and then he'll paint those pieces there separate. And then once they're dry and ready to go, we'll reassemble the wheel, put it all back together. And when I reassemble the wheel, I'll have either these powder coated red. I'll have the tips of these powder coated red, or either I'll order a brand new set already powder coated. So the wheel, the face of the wheel or the center will be all black. The barrel, the outer barrel, which is what's facing up me now, that'll be black. The inner barrel will be red like it is now. That'll stay red. And then, like I said, the center will be all black. So there you have it, guys. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Don't don't spend all that extra money, man, trying to, paying people to do this if you can do it yourself. It's not very hard at all. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time. You just got to be patient. That's all. Okay, guys, I want to show you just a little trick I learned here. Known about it for a while, but just hadn't really used it. So as I was taking out these bolts, the first wheel I took apart. It didn't take me much longer, and it kind of came apart pretty easy. But this second one was giving me a little bit of trouble with the socket and also my impact gun. So what I did was an old school method of kind of giving yourself a little bit more leverage. But I switched over from a socket and a ratchet, right? I switched over from this guy to this guy here, which is I think a box wrench. I think is what they call it. And this actually has a ratcheting head in it. So that's convenient, right? So then what I do is I put the box wrench on the nut, right? And then I take a second box wrench, this guy here, and I hook the circle right here on this guy, right? So that's what that looks like. You see the wrench there, the box wrench, and you see that one there. You see how they're intertwined right there. I guess you can call that an entanglement, huh? Sorry, that was my attempt at humor. So what the longer box wrench gives you the leverage that you need to be able to break the nut so that it's easier to come off, so you don't have to apply as much strength. So you take that, you put it there on the nut, line it up, and you just use your strength to twist it off. And then boom, there it is. So that was with my left hand, which is my weaker hand. I wasn't even bracing myself. I just used the strength from my left hand while I'm holding the camera, and it twisted right off. And now that nut is finger loose, so I can take it off my finger, right? And it'll come right off. See, voila, done. So there's a little trick for you. 2 down, 2 to go. Oh, something I also wanted to point out was that if you look at these centers, if you notice, they are slightly different. This part here is kind of considered, I guess, the hub, if you will. So if you notice, this one here has a much thicker piece of metal here, and then this one here is much narrower. So the one with the thicker piece it goes on the front wheel, and then the one with the thinner piece goes on the rear wheel. So I wanted to show you guys this right here. I came up with this little contraption with the 2 box wrenches that I told you about earlier. So what I realized was that when I was using the box wrenches, it was working great for what I needed it for, but at times it was a little hard to kind of keep the 2 wrenches together and without them moving around. So what I did was I took the 2 wrenches, I put them together in the interlocking position that I showed you, and then I just took some not duct tape, but this is electrical tape, so it's real stretchy and easy to form. And I wrapped a good 4 or 5 rounds of electrical tape around it, just so it wouldn't move on me, and they'll stay together. So I'm gonna try this out, see if it works. It should work, but we'll see what happens. All right, so I'm gonna try this out, just see how well it works. Oh yeah, that's super easy. I barely even had to put any force on that at all, and it just came right off. That is perfect. That is perfect. Yep, that's perfect. All right, so now I got 3 of them done. That third one gave me a little bit of trouble. I knew it was too good to be true. It started out really, really good and easy, and then when I started taking out the shorter bolts. Some of them started to spin on me, so I had to get kind of creative to get those out. But I got them out. So 3 down, 1 to go, and then it'll be time to clean these things up and get them to the paint shop. And that, my friends, is my last one. So if I just tap this a little bit, put a little bit more. And voila, there it is. She's free. So that's all four. All 4 centers are out, and all 4 barrels are empty. Yep. All right. Now it's time to take a break and clean up. All right, so I got the centers all cleaned up. I also cleaned the barrels too. Got the centers spick and span and nice and shiny and clean. They're drying. They still got a little bit of water on them, but they're drying. But they're clean for now. So I kind of had an epiphany when I was working on these. I was thinking instead of using the aircraft remover product to remove the paint or enamel off of these wheels, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave that on there because the finish is actually pretty good. So I don't mind the painter painting over the paint that's already on there. I think that would probably be better anyways, because under this paint is bare metal, and I know sometimes it's a bit difficult for bare metal to or for paint to adhere to bare metal. So I think it might even be better if I decided to do it that way. There's one of the barrels. There's the other 3 right there. They're nice and shiny. I'll just pull this one out just so you can see how clean it is. But I got it nice and clean, and it's ready to be painted. So basically just take these to the paint shop, drop them off, and let them do their thing. So